National Highway Breeder CO. The ideal dog. Many of us want to have that ideal dog, but what will this be? This article is aimed at those who see my YouTube and of course those on the Facebook of my search and rescue blog. This has become a headache to which trainer to train my puppy, which system I will use, and every day they come out with more fancies names. They tell me to take it with a positive reinforce, but not with a negative one, and I give them I would say better with one that makes short circuit. Others, and more sophisticated, are named as canine behavioral emotional cognitive, psychologists, psychiatrists, ethologists and one or another proctologo. The truth is not that I laugh or think that I mock, but it has this turned something for me personally, and I clarify I am not a trainer although I have make some course, I server who only advises recommend nothing more. I known something of canine, little, but what I know that I put my feet above the floor and I study, and I am constantly studying a lot about this subject of dogs, because I am passionate, I like it and I spend a while with my dogs. I can't imagine in the first years of canine domestication talk to the dog. Psychologist better, not better have a clicker made of mammoth bones, and that was the great majority of life in this part of many years, until they began to have more and more utility dogs and began to see training systems, for hunting dogs, dogs to care for herds, dogs alarms, and later dogs of war and protection for the families that lived outside the communities. Also when they began to emerge the first canine associations by the 1800s, but surely had long before in China and other countries, and I imagine without fear of being wrong that they had highly educated dogs where you can watch videos on YouTube from later years. The first dog show was held in Newcastle upon Tyne, England in the year 1859, as well as there is literature of the war dogs of the Romans, but all over the world, and Mexico was not the exception with his dog Coloitzcuintli, and I flew to imagine that also in those times they had highly educated dogs and trained, and I do not think that at that time they were coined psychologist, emotional behaviorist, and all that's names are placed or invented that they feel more glorified, that makes them feel that they are the best trainers in the world. In those times almost biblical, like walk with stories, you misbehave a whip or a shovel, much like the time of horses when they do not want to do something, that poor dog never in his life was something misbehave again. I do not mean that this is a method to train, but if it is a part of this problem to have that ideal dog, in those times they were very firm with them, but already today in day is poor puppy, it is animal abuse super punished nowadays, but today there are thousands and thousands of sacrificed dogs and thousands of other dogs about to be sacrificed. I do not understand where or what is worse, the poor doggy or being sacrificed. Then what to do to have that ideal dog? What is the ideal dog? Everyone, depends on who you ask. If someone who does guard and protection or personal protection dogs will tell you to defend you, and have a worse bite than a shark, the one who does canine sport that his dog wins all tournaments and became the star of the cinema, the one of search and rescue that find many people, the little dog of the girl that is a love puppy, the one of the granny that does not make poop or pee inside the house, the one of the miss that does not destroy her clothes and shoes, and so on, and follow the list. But what you have to take into account, any dog and owner of these, except these three exceptions that will be the perimetral dog, the penitentiary or correctional dog, and the army attack dog, and a little less, and certain police dogs. Outside of those, all have to comply with two things. The first, that is known since 1989, you see that it is not so old, the modern training, is known as Canine Good Citizen. This is what one must procure. Without this you definitely do not have the ideal dog. This is what should be of concern to you, and that you have to show him in the early stages of the puppy. This is what you should demand more to a trainer described above. First, leave the sitting, quiet, when your dog does not obey you in anything, or only with the strap and the sausage in your hand, or only when you practice some sport, but you cannot enjoy passionately outside the training places, because it is a problem. And the second one, that does not attack when there is no real sense of threat or order. This is the most worrisome and the most annoying, and in my YouTube channel are the most viewed videos, having a lot of much better videos, and this problem is the one of more canine sacrifices, and this is due to not having fulfilled the first part. The first part is the Canine Good Citizen, CGC, program, established in 1989, is a program of the American Kennel Club to promote responsible dog ownership and encourage the training of well-behaved dogs. A team of dogs and guides must conduct a brief evaluation of the behavior of less than half an hour. The dogs that pass the evaluation obtain the Certificate of Good Canine Citizen, that many people represent after the name of the dog, sheltering it a CGC, for example, FIDO, CGC. The evaluation consists of 10 objectives. All items must be completed successfully or the equipment fails. The elements of proof include accepting a friendly stranger, seated politely to caress, allow basic cleaning procedures, walking on a track loose, walking through a crowd, sit and lie down to the command and stay in place. It comes when it is called. Reacting appropriately to another dog. Reacting appropriately to distractions. Quietly and lasting by the supervised separation of the owner. Definitively the ideal dog. It is the dog that does not bother me in anything. I can do what I want to do without stressing in anything. I can walk with him freely without getting into fights or problems. Let caress. Do not attack people unless you have an order. Is not as crazy wanting to attack other dogs or animals. Does not destroy the house, makes pee and poop instead. If only the owners try to have some time first. If you are not going to have time, better do not have a dog. The dog takes care of exercising very often. When you have the time to walk from puppy, socialize from puppy with both people and others, dogs and animals, when time is given to be able to carry out the dog's education as a good canine citizen, at that time, you will enjoy the ideal dog and we will see more and better dogs enjoying their owners, and there will be many fewer dogs sacrificed. Regards.